day before training camp began. He began light on court workout a week ago, started a 3-on-3 walk Friday, and was then elevated to 5-on-5 on Sunday. Now, Atlanta Hawks center Onyeka Okongwu agreed to a 4-year, $62 million contract extension. His agent, Sam Godfrey of Excel Sport Management, told journalists on Monday. Okongwu was the 14th and the final player from the 2020 NBA draft class to finalize his rookie scale extension ahead of Monday's 6 p.m. deadline. Well, let's talk about the start of Okongwu this morning. He has averaged 19.9 points and 7.2 rebounds for the Hawks a year ago, including averaging double figures in 13 of his final 15 regular season games. He was the number 6 overall pick in the draft out of Southern California. Now let's talk about one man in Milwaukee Bucks. That is Gianni Antetokounmpo. I must say Gianni Fantino. Well, Milwaukee Bucks star Gianni Antetokounmpo has agreed on a 3-year, $186 million contract extension. The deal, which includes a player option for the 2027-2028 season, commits Antetokounmpo, a 2-time NBA MVP, to the franchise through the duration of guard Damian Lillard's contract and ends the possibility of him entering free agency in 2025. Now let's quickly look at updates coming from the world of tennis this morning. Games are going down across the globe. At the East Bank Open Vienna, we've got games going down today starting 12 o'clock. Alexander Müller will take on Tommy Paul. Alexei Popyrin against Andrei Rublev by 1 o'clock. 1:30 there's a clash between Thimus Markakis and Alexandra Vukic. Francis Taillefer will lock horns with Daniel Evans by 2:30. Stefanos Tsitsipas will be in action against Dominic Thiem by 4:30. And Lorenzo Musetti will be up against Grigor Dimitrov by 6 o'clock. Same time, Lorenzo Sonego is battling Francisco Kevin Jolo. In the Swiss Indoors Tournament in Basel ATP 500, Taylor Gracepol will be in action by 12:30 today against Thiago Seyboth Wild as Dominic Strika battles Benjamin Hassan. Diego Schwartzman will be in action against Alex de Minaur by 2 o'clock. 2:30 we'll see the clash between Dusan Lajovic and Hubal Kars. Mimor Kamenovic will take on Olga Noskov, while Nicolas Jarry will battle Andre Manarino, with Stan Wawrinka being in action against Alexander Shevchenko. In front, a Brest ATP challenger, Nuno Borges will be up against Federico Ferreira Silva as the clash between Pavel Kotov and Giovanni Mpetich has been cancelled. Was on board Pierras will be up against Duja Andrew Djokovic, and Matteo Maturana will take on Tutana Drogat, and Radu Albot will be in action by 11:30 today against Gabriel Diallo. 1 o'clock we'll see Giovanni Mpetich take on Kevin Hemeri that will be by 1 o'clock. And the last game of the day we'll see Pedro Martinez taking on Juan Monar, and that will be by 7 o'clock tonight. Away from tennis this morning. And well, for Tyson Fury, talking boxing, he has dismissed Anthony Joshua's hope of fighting him in a blockbuster all-British heavyweight battle. Remember, Joshua had told the newsmen that he was targeting a future contest with WBC heavyweight champion Fury. But Fury shrugged off the suggestion, telling UK media that AJ was now out in the cold, frozen. So let us freeze out other sports and let's go straight to the other side where we talk football. It is the Kickoff Sports Show.
Is the dial.
News, sports, entertainment. Top 100 music on your Remedy Radio dial. Solutions 93.9.
Do not touch that dial.
Welcome back. It's still Kickoff Sports Show on Solutions 939 FM. Check the time right now. It is 9:07 in case you're just tuning in. This is where you get the latest from the world of sports. Kickoff Sports Show. And my name is Oladako Okunubi. Well, this is the second half of the show where we talk strictly football. Remember, first half of the show, we were able to look at basketball, talk tennis, and talk boxing. Well, let's start from the home scene this morning. Well, despite losing the first leg 1-0 against Moroccan side, where that Athletic Club, where Aimba International are still unbeaten on claiming a place in the semi-finals of the African Football League. Well, the Nigerian Premier Football League champions lost 1-0 to their opponent. And, they got to Akpabio Stadium in Uyo. Now, talking about the updates from the social media handle of the side, Aimba saying, "We fight on." The two sides will meet in the Rivers fixtures this weekend at the Stade Mohammed V in Casablanca, Morocco. Now, looking at games going down today at the Africa Football League, two matches are going down. 3 o'clock, Al Ali will take on Simba. I see as Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa will be at home as a welcome Petro Atletico. Moving on from that side. Now, the Matildas, let's talk about Nigeria's female national team on the show this morning. Well, midfielder Esther Oyenezire, who impressed at the last year's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup finals in Costa Rica as Nigeria reached the quarterfinals, has been drafted to take the place of 2023 FIFA World Cup star Halimatu Ayinde in Nigeria's squad for the 2024 Women's Olympic Football Tournament fixture against Ethiopia's senior women's national team. Now, we are getting updated that the players are ready, getting to camp. And, remember, the Super Falcons will host the second leg of the second round fixture at the MK Abiola Stadium, Abuja, on Tuesday, 31st of October. The winner on aggregate will confront the winner of the fixture between Cameroon and Uganda. The Indomitable Lionesses drew a bye, while Uganda overpowered Rwanda 4-3 on aggregate. Let's talk about the Matildas this morning as they will renew the rivalry with Olympic champions Canada as they bring their momentous 2023 to a close in Vancouver, having faced the Canadians in a two-match series in Australia in September 2022. Both won by the visitors. The Matildas again played with the then world number 6 ranked side in the group stage of this year's home Women's World Cup. The sides will meet again in round out of the year, with Matildas spending 2023's final international window at the training camp in British Columbia before taking on the Canadians in Victoria and Vancouver. Let's go straight to the English Premier League this morning. Following the 2-0 victory over Fulham last night in the English Premier League that returned Tottenham to the summit of the Premier League log, well, coach of the side, Ange Postecoglou, believed that the team still needs to take more control of games going forward.
It's a credit to everyone. We've had a really, encouraging start to the season for sure. Both results and performance-wise. We've been really consistent. We had to work hard tonight. I thought first half we handled it really well. We had to be pretty patient in the way we kind of looked for the openings, and Fulham were very well organised, particularly defensively, and I thought we showed that patience. I thought our pressing was outstanding the whole game, and maybe in the first half we probably could have had one or two more just to put the game to bed. But really disappointed with the second half. With the ball, we were nowhere near the levels we have been all year. That's probably the worst 45 minutes with the ball we've had, all year. And, we've got to sort of make sure that we discipline in our approach because, I think in the end Vic made a couple of great saves to keep the clean sheet. But, within that context, we should have much better control of the game than we did.
Ange Postecoglou speaking there. Now let's move on this morning and look at the UEFA Champions League matches going down tonight. Well, first game of the night is going down in Turkey, where Galatasaray will take on Bayern Munich. Well, Inter Milan, former champions, will be up against Salzburg as Benfica will be taking on Real Sociedad in Portugal. Braga batters Real Madrid, and Lawrence will be up against PSV. Now let's talk about Manchester United FC Copenhagen game. Well, the coach of the side, Erik ten Hag, believes that the players now can think about Bobby Charlton. Well, put emotions aside, but still putting emotions in getting results. Same as Diogo Dalot. He's saying, we will do everything in remembrance of Bobby.
Yeah, of course, we are professionals, and it's our job, but you can't ban emotions, but use the emotions in the right way. I think Diogo did very good last Saturday, and he scored a goal. So, in the memory of Bobby Charlton, I saw a goal from him, I think it was on Wembley, from distance, and like Diogo did, so use that in that way.
When you combine Sir Bobby's goals and they relate to one of your goals of your own, I think it's always a privilege to hear that something like that. But I was fortunate enough to get to know him since I arrived to the club. He was always there after the games with us, no matter if we won the game or if we lost the game. He was always there to be ready to give you a word of appreciation. Sometimes he would even say that we had to play a little bit better. But that just represents the standard of this club and the standard that we wanted for this club. And I think this is something that we have to look back and see, okay, if legends like this got the club to win the best titles, the best games, scoring the best goals. So we have to follow those steps, and he was definitely one of those that you should follow the steps.
Okay, following the steps of late Bobby Charlton. But always say follow no route. All right, let's look at another update here. Sevilla will be in action against Arsenal. And that game is going down in Spain. But remember, it is more of what happened over the weekend of racial abuse on Vinicius Jr. But for the management of Sevilla, they were able to pick the fan and eject the fan out of the stadium. But for Coach Mikel Arteta believes that game is going to be very interesting, most especially with some of the players in the team, with the likes of Bukayo Saka and some other key players who are now getting mature by games.
Yes, I think it's really important for them because the role that they have in our way of playing, in our team, in our club, has to be mirrored as well with the leadership level that they should have around the team and to make the team grow. And I think it's got a perfect environment. We have a really good mixture of players, teams, and experiences in that group, and it's going to be a really valuable time to spend with those guys and to understand what happens as well behind the scenes as well. What I can say that the Seville reacted in a really strong and quick way. Great, let's enjoy a beautiful football atmosphere. It doesn't get much better than the atmosphere here, and I'm just hopeful that we can only talk about football and enjoy that atmosphere tomorrow.
Okay, let us just hopeful that all will surely go well. Let us enjoy a game of football. Last game of the night. Tonight we see Union Berlin in Germany battle Napoli, who will be playing without Victor Osimhen. Remember, Napoli were also in top form over the weekend in the Italian Serie A. And, well, no Victor Osimhen, but they got their result coming their way, beating Verona 3-1. Well, let's hang the show here. And, remember, Kickoff Sports Show makes a return tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, to start the Kickoff Sports Show. My name is Oladak. We're going to be shout out to Mafo Jepita, Omobade Wale, Adebayo Timile, Shade Busirat. Do not go anywhere because we'll be looking at headlines on the pages of Nigerian newspapers on the other side. Good morning, Nigerians.
$939 is the dial. One day, na so bag with plenty money just appear for inside one Olanrewaju compound. 2 seconds, everywhere bust.
Let me get a bag. May nobody see my radar. Hey. Let me face him. Me cannot see you now.
You say waiting. As the landlord of this yard, so let me be the rightful owner of that bag.
Oga landlord, who could not find your size? We die here. Have they come on see? Go. You won't collect.
Hey. Now who come get this bag? Now for the new series, Akpo, we go know.
Follow the Yawa way buster. Sake of this bag where money full. On top the new Africa Magic Show, Akpo. Come see the long throat and Kasala way scatter ground. From 18th September, every Monday and Tuesday by 6:30 for evening. On top Africa Magic, Yoruba Channel 2. Go TV. Love it.
Are you a dedicated farmer involved in cultivation or livestock farming? Then we've got exciting news for you. Introducing Farm Link Up, your gateway to start selling your farm products faster and say goodbyes to spoiled farm produce. Farm Link Up is the largest online market platform for farmers in Africa and globally. Not only that, it connects buyers to fresh farm products at very affordable prices, and farmers can now sell their products faster. If you are a farmer that has in stock of essential equipment, crops, fertilizers, pesticides, and livestock, Farm Link Up is your one-stop solution. Simply register at farmlinkup.com and start to post your products on the platform for free on farmlinkup.com, as buyers are already waiting for you. For more inquiries, simply call 0901 234 5555 or visit farmlinkup.com directly to unlock the boundless opportunities in the world of agriculture. Farmlinkup.com, connecting farmers to the consumers and the world at large.
My name na Taiwo Kuka.
My name na Kende Kuka.
We be twins.
We small. Our mama and papa then they joke say now only one pikin then they expect. But not two of us them get.
Actually, na me then they expect to. Na she then get as a wolf.
I beg you.
Na me be the golden child.
Anyway, our life be like this Momo 100% recharge bonus. Where we say you go get double of any amount where you recharge.
Go recharge your MTN line now for Momo app or dial *671# now.
Make Momo summer you better bonus.
Download the Momo app now or dial *671# to enjoy. Momo, better pass cash.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The general public is hereby advised to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Verify the licensing status of such schemes on these websites: www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call 0700 225 5226, 0800 225 5226, or +234 817 665 6273. Announcer, FSRCC.
Hey, listeners on Spotify are driving Afrobeats to billions of streams. Now you can join in on the journey and listen to your favorite music without ad breaks.
Upgrade to Spotify Premium now and enjoy 4 months free.
News, sports, entertainment, top 100 music on your Remedy Radio dial. Solutions 93.9.
Do not touch that dial.
Alright, good morning to you. 21 minutes gone past the hour of 9. You're listening to Solutions 93.9. Welcome to From the Dailies, where we look through the front pages of our Nigerian newspapers, get a perspective of some of the stories making the rounds, listen to analysis, and of course, get feedback from you. My name is Victory Onyedikachi. Well, my name is Oladapo Kudubi. This morning I've got with me the Punch and the Nation newspapers here. We're also on the street of Nigeria, where we'll also be getting reaction from newspaper stands this morning, most especially based on one statement made by Mr. President saying that the student loan will be activated in 2024.
Absolutely. We're streaming live on Facebook as well as YouTube at Solutions 939 FM. So do all to jump in on the platform and react to some of the stories we would be speaking of this morning. I'll be taking stories from the Nigerian Tribune and the Vanguard newspaper. Alright, you can also send messages to WhatsApp or regular text 0904 422 2939. Let's start off with the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Students' loan takes off in January. This is coming from the president. Says plan on the way to improve foreign exchange contract. On fuel subsidy, the fuel subsidy pains will be short-lived, he adds. Find our story on page 8 and page 25. Impeachment again. Ondo Assembly writes CJ on constituting panel to investigate Aida Tiwa. Federal government targets $5 billion annually for humanitarian poverty alleviation tax fund. OK's $3.45 billion for 5 projects, including $700 million USSD for adolescent girl child education. Find that story in page 12. Weekend forces tax clearance certificate as precondition for business transactions in the FCT. Find that story on page 5. Supreme Court dismisses Adeyemi's appeal against APC Ododo. Find that story on page 22. Odua's investment foundations defined for lunch today. Find that story on page 12. And now to the biggest story in the Nigerian Tribune paper. P&ID. Excitement as Nigeria wins $11 billion UK court case. Right as to that, corrupt officials, private firms can no longer hold nation hostage. And that's coming from the president. Judgment removes risks of Nigeria's assets abroad. AGF. More stories from the Tribune paper. How I beheaded man sold his parts to Islamic cleric for 50,000 naira, suspect says. Find that story on page 23. Autonomy. Parliamentary staff set to shut down national state assemblies. 40 women in Nigeria die daily from breast cancer. Brecan. Find that story on page 25. We spoke about this yesterday. Supreme Court reverses judgment in Obi Atiku's appeal against Tinubu's election. These are the stories on the front page of the Tribune paper.
All right, now going straight to the Punch newspaper this morning and, picking some headlines from the cap. FG plans $10 billion to stabilize Naira, eyes NNPCL for Forex. FAC, okay, it's a $3.45 billion World Bank loan for power. Others. The banner headline this morning from the Punch, Tinubu certificate prove alleged forgery beyond reasonable doubt. Supreme Court tells Atiku. And two writers to that headline, court reserves judgment on Obi, LP's appeal, dismisses APM's case. Next writer says Atiku insists on CSU evidence, ex-VP's disposition invalid, says Tinubu. A sad one from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, front page picture coming from Ogun State. And the headline says, Oyon Dam, flood sacks Ogun communities. Government declares emergency. Well, this and more you can find from the Punch newspaper. Let's go straight quickly to the next newspaper this morning.
All right, over to the Vanguard paper, starting off with business. States FCT grow IGR by 1.6% to 1.9 trillion naira in 2022. Nigeria wins 11 billion P&ID case in UK court. FEC approves $5 billion annually for humanitarian poverty alleviation trust fund. Autonomy State Assembly staff begin nationwide strike tomorrow. Attack on Tinubu Wike. Northern elders disown Gumi. Kogi governorship polls. Supreme Court affirms Ododo as APC candidate. Presidential tussle. Atiku's CSU evidence not admissible. Subsidy removal, exchange rate unification, we have achieved desired objectives. This is coming from Tinubu. And lastly, in sport, bring Nyemas back to Eagles. Peter Side tells NFF. These are the stories on the front page of the Vanguard.
Okay, well, what a headline from sports. That should be from, what newspaper is that? Tribune, right? Vanguard, okay. All right, now looking at other headlines, going straight to The Nation this morning. Supreme Court grills Atiku's lawyers over CSU documents. That's the banner headline. And right after that headline, Apex Court dismisses APM's appeal, reserves judgment in Atiku Obi versus Tinubu. Well, looking at this headline coming from Ondo State, Ondo Assembly pushes ahead with Ayedatiwa's impeachment. Rider says CJ gets another letter to set up panel. Forex crisis, federal government to inject $10 billion in weeks. Unauthorized dollar transactions to become illegal. Consumer credit scheme soon, says President. Senate uncovers duplications in East-West road contracts. And federal government confirms January start of student loan scheme. Well, with this headline, our correspondent, Oluwagbemiga, was on the streets of Nigeria this morning. Oluwagbemiga Tolulokwe, he spoke to some Nigerians talking about this particular headline and the statement coming from Mr. President. If this sounds like, a political statement, or we look at the situation, maybe this should have started. If you could say SUV, cars for National Assembly members could, be worked upon fast-tracked, why is this coming in January? Do not go anywhere. Let's listen.
Okay, now they said they want to share palliative. Palliative that we are sharing now is not circulated to the town. Until they start it, then do it very well. Then everybody benefit from it. That we know that they want to do this way. Understand? So I can't say that is it true or not. Until they start it, then everybody benefit from it. Am I correct?
I'm sure it's not an empty promise. It will take off, as I said, in January 2024. And I'm sure we will be putting every machinery in motion to make sure it starts as he has said it. So I'm sure it's not an empty promise. No, so many things have to be put in place rightly before commencement. I'm sure they must have been working on the modalities, parameters, and some other considerations. And those things takes time to conclude. So you cannot just start what you've not planned very well. Because if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail.
So they can wait to next year. To me, next year is okay. To start for the fresh year. So they will know how to disburse the loan and whatever they want to do. So it's good like that. I don't think it is an empty promise.
Well, I don't feel it's an empty promise. One, then it's not a late commencement because we should give them ample time for them to plan for it. You understand? And for proper implementation of the student loan, it needs to be guided because we know the situation of Nigeria. That when they plan to do something and at the end of the day, there are some set of people that will gang up and stay within it and start siphoning the funds to themselves instead of disbursing the loan to the students. So let us give them time to plan more for it so that it can come out perfect. To me, I don't think it's late. Considering the school calendar year, well, normally it's meant to be September, October for the new semester, the first semester normally. But coming for January still boils down to the fact that they can have a little more time to plan for it. I don't feel it's an empty promise, one, considering the fact that there's pressure on the government. So the pressure on them might make them to always fulfill it. One, the pressure I'm talking about is the Supreme Court he uses having. He wants to make sure that everything he promised is doing it so that people can feel or see that okay, he's a serious government. Although we've had previous presidents in the past, really make empty promises, but I don't have a feeling that yes, this new president is going to implement a whole lot of things he has promised.
Well, reactions from Nigerians this morning after the headlines coming saying that federal government confirms January start of student loan scheme. Well, some say, well, not really an empty promise, but the question is, why is it taking so long? Mr. President came up, when he took over of office in May, announced the subsidy removal, and different levels of development came up. But now for student loan, saying the scheme to start in January. What of schools that have increased their fees? Looking at protests that came up in Lagos, Obafemi Awolowo University students also, telling federal government to the management of the institution to either reverse the school fees. We know a lot that is happening in different institutions. Well, this and more are what we'll be discussing on the show this morning. Remember, you can be part of the program. Join us live on Facebook, Solutions 939 FM, to drop your comment. And in case you want to send us a WhatsApp or SMS this morning, you can send them straight to 0904 422 2939. 0904 422 2939. Well, Comrade Ayode Jadishokwe joins us, virtually this morning as we look at this. But well, I don't know, Victor, if you look at this, maybe some say not an empty promise, but if you look at some other decisions, most especially from the National Assembly, it was very in a haste to take some decisions about the SUVs, removal of subsidy, and the likes. But why are we looking at the scheme, the student loan scheme coming up in January?
Well, for lack of a better way of saying this, I think that time is required to properly put all hands on deck and ensure that this promise made by the federal government is done in a way that everyone who is signed up to be a beneficiary gets it. Just for emphasis, I'm going to reiterate some of the requirements that you must satisfy to be a beneficiary of that. But we have our comrade joining us virtually this morning. Good morning to you, comrade, and thanks for being with us.
Good morning to you, comrade Victor Richard.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, now let's look at this. Victory was about reading out the criteria to be part of the student loan. But we felt like 2023, we should have got everything should have been put in place. And remember, the former Speaker of the House of Rep, Femi Gbajabiamila, who also is behind this scheme, who is now the Chief of Staff. Don't you think a lot of things should have been put in place instead of saying it's starting in 2024 and looking at a lot of Nigerian students who are going through hell to pay fees in schools?
Yeah, if you take a look at that bill that was passed into law, first and foremost, Gbajabiamila is a product of the American system where that is borrowed from. And of course, he knows what obtained. But apparently, that bill was so hastily put together that when it was unveiled, we saw so many flaws. You understand? What input by stakeholders was there? There's usually a public hearing. You understand? There's usually a public hearing for bills when it gets to a particular stage. And stakeholders would be notified and invited. Was none involved, none representing students. Was ASU involved, was all stakeholders, parents, association of parents, guardians, and stakeholders in the educational industry, as it were in Nigeria. Were they involved in the process? And even if they were involved, what was the level of involvement, when a bill is put together and the needful is not done, that is what you have. And they had to virtually, they wanted to unveil that bill and, and use it as a political tool and then go back and, yes, it was, you know what the reaction we got. And then they went back to the drawing board, trying to put. I expect that bill there will be amendments that will be introduced for that bill for it to be effective. You understand? And the way we are, it is not a particularly new thing to us in Nigeria. We have always had loans board, but things that are expected to function smoothly, autopilot. You don't have to know nobody. Taking forms to Ministry of Education or to the Commission by hand and all of that. No. Criteria is set. You interface with a system. You interface with an institution. It's not from we want the advantage area and all of that. No. On needs basis, that is the way you're supposed to be served. I hope it's going to work the way it ought to work. Yes, fees have been jacked up in many universities, federal universities specifically, and even some other state universities. But it's going to take time to, integrate and let it work smoothly. We're talking about $500,000 or something like that, Abi. So, will it be sufficient? Will $500,000 be sufficient? I think the minimum should be $1 million initial. It's like a takeoff grant. I'm going into 100 level. I have $1 million remitted to me, or remitted to the school. You understand?
Okay.
I do not know whether the commission will have the capability and the capacity to deliver. Coping with the number of students that will be applying and sorting it out. All of that cannot and should not be a manual thing. You understand? It has to be automated for it to run smoothly. Okay. So I hope the needful will be done in that regard.
Okay, if it's about doing the needful, we are looking at the criteria here, not even talking about the money to be disbursed, for loan here. Victory, we're looking at the criteria, right?
All right, just a few outline for that, for the purpose of reiteration. So students must secure admission into any public Nigerian university, polytechnic, or college of education. Applicant income or family income must be less than 500,000 per annum. Applicant must provide at least 2 civil servants as guarantors of not less than level 12 years in service, or a lawyer with at least 10 years post-call experience, a judicial officer or justice of peace. Students who have defaulted on previous loans, found guilty of examination malpractice, felony or drug offenses will not be considered. Students with parents who have defaulted in respect of previous loans will also not be considered. So these are some of the outlines or requirements for you to be a beneficiary of these loans, which a lot of people have called, quite strict as it is.
Now, that's generic when you say it is strict. Which of those criteria do you have a problem with? You want people whose parents are defaulted, Let me tell you, in Europe, people value their credit cards more than their lives. That is why they stay away from the smallest of infractions, including a traffic offense, because it will reduce your credit rating. You understand? We'll have to learn to be law-abiding. And if law-abiding citizens will earn credit for that, and lawless citizens will earn discredit, so be it. If you have defaulted on loans, yes, you're going to be disqualified. If we're going to have a credit system that is going to guarantee, didn't you hear the president? Credit has to be available. Access to credit is critical. I want to buy a car. I need a minimum of 300 million naira. My take-home pay as a director in the state civil service is just about 200,000 naira. Where will 12 times, you can multiply that 12 times 2, that's 2.4 billion. My annual salary is not even up to 3 million. How am I going to get credit? The system must be secured. If they say bring level 12 officer or judicial officer, they know they have access to his funds. If you default, then they will access you and start deducting. It must be secured. This is based on the experiences. People signed bonds, people got students' loan, people got study leave, we paid to go outside this country. They signed bonds. Many did not even return. Many returned and returned to the private sector. It has to be secured. If it has to be sustainable, it has to be firmly, not just secure, it has to be firmly and rigidly secure. Let me tell you, you go to the United States, I know somebody years back who took students loan in the United States, of course, in Nigeria and America, and she came back working here. Right from Nigeria, she was paying her students loan. She knew it was going to be a liability if she went back to the United States and affect her credit rating. Even when working here in Nigeria, earning naira. Oh, thankfully, she was earning dollars with one of those multinational companies. She was paying tax in the United States and paying her students' loan more than 7-10 years after she had graduated from university. It has to be secured. People have to be lawful, or else that student's loan will crash in a matter of 5 years or thereabout. It has to be a sustainable plan. That is how you start. If anybody, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But the only one I may disagree with is that parents have to be earning less than 500,000 naira. I don't think that is. Yes, that one has to be jacked up. Because even if you are earning $1 million naira per annum, that is less than 100,000 in the circumstance in which we are operating. You understand?
I mean, Nigeria's
in fact, it has to be put in Nigeria's economy. It has to be something like 2 million or thereabout. Are they talking about combined, or resources of the two parents? You understand? They should not compare people to lie. You understand? And enter false, and of course there is no database to verify all these things if people lie. There's no database.
Talking about database, although we're getting updates from federal government saying that, in creation of the humanitarian trust fund and raising $5 billion annually, well, I mean, we're already getting updates that the federal government is trying to work on database, the social register, and the like. So let's keep our fingers crossed ahead of that. Now, quickly, let us look at what is happening, what went down at the court yesterday. Look at the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. Tinubu's certificate prove alleged forgery beyond reasonable doubt. Supreme Court tells Atiku. And if this is what is happening, look at the second rider. Atiku insists on CSU evidence. Ex-VP's disposition invalid, says Tinubu. Where do we see this going? Comrade, are you there? Okay, let's try and reconnect with Comrade Ayodeji Ajishokwe this morning as we look at what transpired yesterday and looking at the CSU saga and looking at the decision of the Supreme Court and where this may end. Well, looking at more of reactions as the first rider to that headline that says court reserves judgment on OBLP's appeal, dismisses APM's case. Sometimes you see some parties just go to the court without proper evidence. Comrade, thank you for joining us again. Yeah.
Yes, I'm there.
All right. So
yes, I heard you.
Yeah, let's go.
I heard you. Yes, the Supreme Court says prove your case beyond reasonable doubt. I don't think it is the Supreme Court saying so. It is the laws of the land saying so. We must distinguish between the Supreme Court of Nigeria and the laws of the land. The Supreme Court was just quoting the laws.
Following the laws of the land.
That's what the laws of the land demand that you prove. And it is not just in a case like that. You take somebody to court for a robbery or some grievous offenses, you have to prove beyond every reasonable doubt. In fact, the saying is that it is better for to free people who are alleged 99 alleged of criminal offense rather than jail an innocent man. You understand? So that is just it. I do hope Atiku, after going all through this stress in the United States, and he has, I'm putting this in quote, and he has what he has now in form of, in quote again, evidence, let him go to the Supreme Court and prove as the laws of the land demand beyond reasonable doubt. We know we are deepening our democracy, we are expanding the coast, and this will be, guiding us in the future. You will recall that the Supreme Court fined PDP and the APM for bringing some frivolities to court. Issues that have been settled, don't bring them to court again. That is frivolity, and that is an abuse of court process. So we're setting precedents, and when those precedents are there, issues will not arise from them again because we just dismiss them. They won't hear them. So we are deepening our democracy and expanding the coast.
All right, comrade, let's move over to a story that raised a lot of excitement yesterday with, Nigeria winning the 11 billion US dollars P&ID case in a UK court. Now, you would recall that sometime in 2017, a private arbitration tribunal said Nigeria should pay 6.6 billion naira to the P&ID plus interest beginning from March the 20th, 2013, that now amassed to 11.1 billion US dollars. Now, my question is, we see contracts being awarded to a lot of these international bodies. Let's use the Julius Berger for instance. Is it that scrutinies are not done? Because if you track back to this story, you would realize that it was Nigerians jumping into a corrupt venture with the P&ID. So is it that scrutinies are not done? And I don't think that they walked alone. They must have gotten support from some of us, even in the country.
One thing that the court established was that there was corruption in the processes. And, Nigeria got evidence. They call it electronic footprint. There is no there is no hiding place for any financial transaction now. You will leave a trail of electronic footprint. You will also recall that Nigeria at a point had agreed to settle out of court in the days of, I can't remember the Attorney General now, until there was an outcry in this Nigerian space, and then they had to back up. You see, bribes were paid, and this thing started during the Yaradua era. They did not even acquire a site. They had no track record in this gas business. They did not acquire a site. It is an arrange, the one they call RNG. Everything was arranged from within us here. What do you call a people like that? Who want Nigeria? Nigerians who want Nigeria to pay 11 billion US dollars. You see, these are not mere criminals. They are saboteurs. It is very, very sad, but that is who we are. It is a terrible exposition of connivance from within. You remember the Mapila thing? Mapila issue too is that a minister purportedly signed off a contract of 4 billion US dollars, a minister. And the former president said no minister had powers to sign more than 25 million naira contract. Yet, a minister awarded, purportedly so, a contract of $4 billion or thereabout. Sometimes I was listening to somebody in this morning, and he said, in as much as he's against the idea of capital punishment, but they do it in China. I think the fear of capital punishment, because what more sabotage? How much does Nigeria have in our foreign reserve now? How much is Nigeria looking for to shore up the value of the naira? That some people, a handful of people, and I can tell you, not a large number, a handful of people in connivance with foreign agents want to do that to their country, a country of their own. That's what they want to do. It's very sad. But thankfully, Nigeria escaped that. And of course, the laws of the land where it was taken to, that was the last point. If we had lost, that would have been it. That was itself an appeal. So, that corruption was involved in the process. They tracked that they did deposit monies in the offices or in the accounts of Nigerian officials. But you see, that report that they have that monies were paid to Nigerian officials should be pursued. It should not end there. Who got what? Who got what? You see, I liken this situation to the town planning. You know, they say you are violating, like the man is doing in Abuja now. You are violating environmental laws. You are breaching laws. Who allocated those properties? You know, those pieces of land to them to build. The guys who did the allocation, who signed it, everybody involved in the process too must be penalized. It should not end there. They must be penalized. Monies were paid. That is not the only one. Siemens too. Monies were paid. You remember the Siemens scandal during the days of Obasanjo? Monies were paid to certain officials. They don't prosecute them. You see, we ask for good governance or good governance. I don't ask for good governance. I ask for transparency. I demand transparency. What we should demand is transparency, not good governance.
Comrade, to jump on what you said, there must be continuous investigation, people brought to book, people brought to justice. There must be transparency. When do you think this will start? And if there's transparency and there's continuous investigation, maybe a lot of people will be dragged in this. Maybe the reason there's no continuous investigation.
Perhaps that's
Let me tell you, journalism has to step up in this country. Let me tell you, just a few people are involved. Journalism has to live up to its billing as the fourth estate of the realm. Two journalists, opened the can of worms on Watergate. An American president resigned from office when he was going to be exposed to have been involved in a burglary, not robbery, not stealing, not thieving, but mere burglary. An American president had to resign.
Okay.
We have to demand transparency. Government is not a secret society. The FOI that was passed during the days of Obasanjo must be domesticated, and people, I've said this a couple of times, we must organize ourselves. Government is not going to do nothing. Transparency is what we should demand for, not good governance.
Okay.
Transparency and accountability. Transparency will lead to accountability. Accountability will give us good governance.
All right, let's be hopeful that that is possible because of our time this morning. Thank you very much, Comrade Ayodeji Ajishokwe. I was thinking we could have time to talk about what is happening in Ogun State due to flood, but tomorrow we look at that because myself, Victory, we're discussing about likely flood and that it will soon get to a stage where governors will now start, shouting for emergency and looking for support. But thank you very much for your time this morning.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, brothers.
All right, what you just heard, Comrade Ayodeji Ajishokwe speaking there. And if you look at that headline from the Punch newspaper, Ogun State is close to Oyo State. Also, it's between Oyo and Lagos State. But our hearts and thoughts to people around the area where flood has sacked people out of their residence.
The conversation on climate change and flood should be more emphasized right now because the implication that comes with it is, far demanding. You're going to lose lives, you're going to lose properties, and it's heartbreaking. And I just hope that, we do what is needed. As much as we want to plunge on the government on what they need to do, we also have a responsibility. The drainages that you have around you, you need to take care of it as well. You don't want to dispose waste in some of these drainages. Pay attention to these things. But I think my take home for today is, thankfully, we didn't have to pay $11 billion with the current debt profile that we have. I can't even imagine where Nigeria will be. I don't want to wake up one morning and I'm told that Nigeria has been sold. Hopefully we don't see that happen.
Okay, well, from this corner, we'd like to say a very big thank you to everybody that joined the show. AM Updates makes a return tomorrow. Remember, Tuesday's edition is always a brief. Well, coming up next is Iwaida with Great Bobs. My name is Oladapo Okonobi.
All right, my name is Victor Nyedikachi. Have yourself a wonderful Tuesday.
sáàkì mo fẹ́ lọ rọ́jọ̀gbọ́n o mo ń lọ sábẹ́ o.